What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. So we have another artistry video, and if you hear some snoring in the background, it's my baby. He's knocked the fuck out. But anyways, I've been working on a couple different paintings the last couple months, and this video is probably from like May, I believe, like April or May. But yeah, I've definitely like done a couple different things. This painting is a little bit more developed than this, but I still am not anywhere near done. But yeah, I just wanted to try and do like the background, like make it look like there's like a forest of trees. So that's like why I'm like doing like this tapping moment to try and see if I can get some extra texture to kind of make it look like trees or like the leaves on trees and stuff like that. This is usually the method I use when I'm trying to make this look like further away and not actually like do like the little like dots. And then I wanted to add a little bit more texture to the clouds, and I wanted to add some more blue because I feel like they were kind of a little bit flat. So I took some like blue, like light blue and white paint, and then I'm basically just tapping on like the same areas or the similar areas just to create a little bit more texture, and then add some more highlights and shadows to certain areas. But yeah, I used to do this with a circular like oil pastel brush, but honestly you could do this with whatever brush. I've changed the way I used to do like clouds and honestly everything. Like my biggest thing, and I've talked about it a lot lately, is I'm obsessed with textures and trying to figure out how to add textures to different things. So that's kind of how or why I'm even like doing that tapping motion to create another like form of texture. And then this is an abstract painting. I was literally just doing shit at this point. There's so many layers on here and I still feel like it wasn't done, so I was like, let me try something different. And I tried to draw like eyes with the green, and you could kind of tell but not really. And then I had like this blue mixed with like this like pinkish color, and yeah, I was just doing like these squiggly lines everywhere. I was just having fun and like playing with different like techniques, because usually when I do abstract paintings like that, I literally just do it like flat motions, like literally just like a little square, if that makes sense. But yeah, I've been trying to play around, like I said, with textures, and this was like kind of like a fun thing to do and not have too much pressure on it, because it's a smaller piece that I can kind of do what I want. I have like bigger abstract pieces that I've been working on, but that one was just kind of for fun. And we're doing this other piece, and this is kind of inspired by like my childhood bedroom in a sense. I mean, everything doesn't look exactly the same, but I just kind of wanted to add different things, and I feel like this has just been a part of my Roots series, like just doing different things and paying homage to the past. And I feel like me taking a moment to like, you know, appreciate the past and stuff, it allows me to like finally move on. Usually how it's been for like my like painting style lately, I would do like a base layer of whatever color, and then once that dries, like, you know, probably a week or so after, because I don't always paint every single week. But once I have that first layer of color kind of like blocked into the area of where I want it, I'll go in on top and like kind of figure out how I want it, because I have not been really sketching out any of my art pieces. I really can't remember the last time I actually like sat down and was like, okay, I need to like put this here and sketch it with a pencil. I've really just been going for it. Also, so I don't know what the hell is going on with my voice, but it's like getting deeper, and I know to me I sound crazy, like I sound completely different, but yeah, just ignore that. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I wanted to have this dollhouse in the background because I used to have a dollhouse that I absolutely love, and I added this red car because I used to have this red Barbie car that I got from somebody. Like, it wasn't brand new, it was definitely somebody old like toy or whatever. But now I'm moving on to this other piece, which is a cover up over cover up. I've covered this piece up so many different times, but I am finally almost done with this piece, and I'm glad that like I kind of figured out what I want to do. And I basically like added another layer of like little like seaweed or whatever you want to call it at the bottom, and I usually do like 2 to 3 different layers just so it looks a little bit like there's like not just like a couple like pieces, if that makes sense. And then, you know, I want to like add some more paint to the rocks, because some of the colors I feel like they weren't like the best color, probably because I didn't have the paint I needed. And then I went over the anchor again just to make it pop out a little bit more. But yeah, when it comes to paint, I usually just get paint from Michael's. This is like their acrylic paint, and sometimes they be having sales, either buy 2 get 1 free or something like that. One thing I love about doing these artistry videos is that like I get to kind of see how I was doing certain layers, because once you get to the end of the piece, sometimes you kind of forget like what things used to look like, and I think it's kind of fun to see like the beginning stages and then like compare it to like the final stages and everything that I added, you know, how I built up on this piece. And basically what I'm doing is just taking like brown and basically doing like these dot motions, and I'm trying to basically create the like texture of sand. That's kind of how I did the like little dots in the background, but that was like a completely different thing. So yeah, I had to cover it up, but I'm doing different colors. Like once I do a whole layer of one color, I would just do a different color, and it depends on like how brown I want the like sand, or like if I want it to be kind of like yellow tone, I'll play with different colors and then like just do the dots and just figure out kind of how I want to do it. And then I'm moving on to this other piece, kind of like how the first piece y'all kind of saw. I was like creating like kind of like a forest. I'm basically doing the same thing. It's just the trees look a little bit up closer, and this is a different like I can't even think what it's called, but this one's vertical, the other one was horizontal, but or orientation, that's what it is. But yeah, I'm just tapping the emotions, and then like I did the other painting, I'm going over the clouds just to give them a little bit more texture and then make them pop a little bit more, because I feel like sometimes with the first brown, like you can get a little bit of dimension, but it's not gonna pop, and I feel like adding that second layer just like makes it look a little bit like better and like how you actually pictured it. Believe me, I was someone like back in the day, I would do like one layer of painting and then call it a day. I didn't want to do all that stuff, but it really just like helps when I do different layers. That way I can build upon something. Sometimes the color needs to be a little bit richer, so you know, I feel like layers is a good thing. It's something that you should like lean in towards, just because I feel like at the end it will make your like piece look better, because sometimes the first layer is like you practicing and you may not like how something looks, or you might feel like, okay, with all these colors going on, maybe I need a different like, you know, tone for different colors just to make it look a little bit cohesive. That's kind of what I was doing with these houses. Like I squared out the houses, yes, and I felt like that was helpful, but I really kind of didn't like the color of the like brown, and it's probably because sometimes when I like run out of like colors I need, I try to like mix them, and sometimes it's okay, but sometimes it's just like but yeah, I was trying to figure out what I want to do with like the little body of water, so I decided to basically have like a couple of like people just like swimming in the water. And yeah, I usually don't even do paintings like this, but I've just been really pushing myself, especially when it comes to like nature scenes. Like I love doing nature scenes, and I've been trying to add different elements, like start adding more people in or other things, just to like switch it up so it's not as basic of just like a basic ass landscape with no person in it. But yeah, and I was okay with the background at first, but I really don't like how it looks. Like I don't like the color scheme of it and the tone, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to basically cover up the sky. So that's what you see me doing, and I'm just trying to be careful and going around like the areas that I just painted, that way like none of them are really like smearing, and I'm kind of doing like the same texture I would normally do. It's just I'm doing it on top of a layer that I don't really want anymore. But yeah, when it comes to like skies, I usually like to have like blue and like a maybe like a lighter blue and then a darker blue, just to give it a little bit more dimension. And I just go back and forth, and I don't make things exactly perfect, and like, you know, the color, certain colors are going to pop up more in certain areas, and you know, I fuck with it. And I actually started doing like some leaves on this tree that I started on earlier, and usually I don't always go like, you know, move in so many different like areas and then like actually layering stuff like how I just did the tree. But sometimes I'm just like, you know what, I want to crank this out, I want to add this, I want to add that. And I feel like it helps, because there's sometimes when certain elements of my art piece have like 3 or 4 layers, and it's like I'm constantly have to go back in and go back in. So when I like do a painting, like I try to add as many details as possible or change as much stuff as possible, because I know I probably won't be touching it for a little while. Like yes, it's a lot easier when it's like summertime for me to paint, and like I have enough time to like, you know, work on something and actually work on it the next day and maybe like, you know, the rest of the week. But sometimes when it's like school time, it's like I might paint like once on the weekend, and that's good, because because there's been times where like for months I wasn't doing any personal projects. Like I would just be doing stuff for like, you know, work and stuff, and it just feels really nice to like hone into like my own like creative outlets and like my like art style and stuff, because it does help when I'm like teaching stuff, because, you know, especially for me, like me doing some of these paintings and stuff has just given me ideas of kind of like what I want to do for my kids and like what projects I want to assign. So it's just like practice and like me just kind of figure out, okay, how would I like incorporate these different things and like teach this. So, you know, expect to see some more paintings and stuff. I'm trying to get back into painting. I painted a couple different things yesterday, but it's been a little minute. So, you know, I'll be trying to keep up because I definitely want to finish this piece. It's almost finished, as I believe. Like, I feel like there might just be like one or two more details, but it looks completely different than this. So just, you know, a little heads up. I think I changed the like color of the like water too, but I wanted to cover up the green because I don't really like the green either. A lot of these tones, like, they were okay, but, you know, at the end of the day, I just want to say I love y'all so much. I'll talk to you later. Bye.